Welcome, my dear friends, to our brand new channel, where we walk through all things Christmas. Picture a quiet room on Christmas Eve. The lights are low, the tree hums with a soft piney glow, and there, along the mantel, hang bright stockings. Some are velvet, some knit by hand, one embarrassingly huge for the family dog. Why do we do this? Why do we hang stockings by the fireplace for a jolly, chimney-hopping gift-giver to fill? Tonight, I'll tell you the story. From old legends in the Mediterranean to 19th century poems in New York. From Dutch wooden shoes to Italian witches who leave candy. And from Victorian bedside stockings to modern stocking stuffers. Pull your chair closer to mine. This tale begins long before Santa Claus. It started with a saint. Our story opens in the 4th century, in the seaside world of Lycia, today's Turkey, where a Christian bishop named Nicholas became famous for quiet generosity. Legends surround him, but one in particular feels like a spark, lighting the fuse for everything that follows. A poor father with 3 daughters could not afford dowries, and the girls faced a desperate future. In the night, Nicholas slipped them gold, anonymously. Some versions say the bags tumbled down a chimney, landing in stockings or shoes left to dry by the hearth. It's a vivid image, a hidden kindness, a warm fire, and a simple garment transformed into a lifeline. That single picture, gold, chimney, stocking, will echo for centuries. Even today, many European St. Nicholas celebrations remember that legend. In early December, children set out shoes or stockings and wake to sweets, coins of chocolate, and little gifts. Those shiny chocolate coins, they point back to Nicholas's famous dowry rescue, tiny edible symbols of gold. In some places, oranges join the coins. Their warm colour stands in for the saint's 3 golden gifts in folk memory. Practical details shift from country to country, but the heartbeat is constant. Generosity practiced in the dark, discovered with a gasp of morning wonder. From the Mediterranean, our tale drifts north with centuries of devotion to Nicholas, the protector of children and sailors, the patron of the needy, the figure who helped quietly, decisively, and then disappeared. Devotion to St. Nicholas spread throughout Europe, especially across the Low Countries and German-speaking lands. There, children left shoes by doors and hearths on his feast, December 6th, and found small gifts, fruit and sweets. It wasn't Christmas yet. This was still Advent, still awaiting time. But the ritual, shoes, hearth, gifts, was firmly in place. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, an American city of Dutch roots, New York, was quietly setting kindling under the modern Santa story. In 1809, Washington Irving's playful Knickerbocker's History of New York helped revive and recast St. Nicholas for American readers, blending Old World lore into New World storytelling. A few years later, in 1810, the New York Historical Society commissioned art, showing Nicholas with children's treats near stockings at the fireplace. Americana was weaving stockings, chimneys, and Nicholas together long before red suits, sleighs, or the North Pole took center stage. Then, boom, 2 early 19th century poems gave the tradition its boosters. In 1821, an illustrated verse called Old Santa Claus, with much delight, pictured a winter gift-bringer arriving on Christmas Eve with, this is important, reindeer and a sleigh. It shifted the calendar from December 6th to the night before Christmas and put the chimney in the spotlight. The stockings were ready and waiting by the hearth. 2 years later, the tradition went pop culture viral in quill and ink. Clement Clark Moore's 1823 poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, you know it as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," gave us the immortal line the stockings were hung by the chimney with care, and a Santa who fills them. That image, homey, domestic, hopeful, became the emotional logo of Christmas Eve in America and beyond. Illustrators soon ran with it. Thomas Nast, the 19th century artist who helped cement the look of Santa for generations, drew scenes of Santas and bulging stockings, turning living room mantels into stages for joy. In 1879, Harper's Weekly published his vignette, A Stocking Full, the very title winking at how central this ritual had become. The stocking wasn't a side dish. It was the little theatre where surprise, charity and delight appeared, right by the fire. As the stocking ritual spread, local flavours stayed distinct. In parts of Germany, for example, the December 6th Nikolaustag tradition kept children polishing boots and setting them out for treats, linking shoes and gifts more than stockings. If you ever find chocolate Santas tucked into a boot-shaped candy mould, you're seeing the echo. The point is, a foot covering, stocking or shoe became the humble vessel for a gift of grace. In Italy, the practice took on a beloved Epiphany twist. On the night before January 6th, the end of the 12 days, the kindly witch La Befana swoops down chimneys to leave presents in children's stockings. Good kids get sweets. Naughty ones traditionally get a lump of coal. Today, often candy shaped like coal, the kind surprise that keeps the folklore playful. Same hearth, same stocking, different messenger, same core lesson. Gifts come to the prepared heart. Head north to Iceland and you'll meet a rascally parade, the 13 Yule Lads. For 13 nights before Christmas, children leave a shoe on the windowsill. Each night brings a new visitor, and for well-behaved kids, a small treat. Step out of line, and folklore says you might find a rotten potato. Different country, different vessel, but again, shoes and small surprises form the thread that ties these stories to the stocking ritual we know. Across the English-speaking world, the Victorians gave stockings another twist. In many British homes of the 19th century, children first found their gifts at the foot of the bed. Toward the century's end, stockings gathered there too. Later, the hearth mantel stole the scene, especially as images of Santa arriving by chimney travelled quickly across magazines, cards and shop windows. An orange, nuts and a few sweets often made up a poor child's stocking in those years. Modest, fragrant and bright. Why oranges? They were a winter luxury. Sun in the palm of your hand. And they quietly echoed the older St. Nicholas story of gold gifts. By the 19th century, with stockings on the rise, the orange became a classic stocking treasure. The golden circle you'd find at the toe when you reached in. Touch history and theology there. Generosity, symbol and sweetness wrapped together. So, if we stitch the centuries like a seam, we start with a bishop who prefers the shadows of generosity. Then European children set out shoes by doors and hearths. Then New York writers and illustrators move the moment to Christmas Eve and position stockings at the mantel. Then Victorians crown the custom with oranges and nuts. Then department stores, newspapers and family photo albums cement the look. Stockings become their own little ritual. Something you prepare, personalize and nervously pat for fullness on your way to bed. And what about the phrase stocking stuffer? Language always catches up to life. Dictionaries put its first recorded use in the mid-20th century. By then, advertisers had plenty of practice suggesting tiny delights that could tuck into that felt sock. Perfume vials, crayons, marbles, playing cards, and later, gift cards. The term is practical, a bit commercial, and totally irresistible. Fill the small space with something that says, "I thought of you." Stockings also became a theatre for charity. Newspapers in the early 1900s began empty stocking funds, community drives to fill metaphorical stockings for families in need. In Atlanta, that fund dates to 1927 and still raises money today. The stocking, in other words, is not just a prop for receiving. It's a symbol of giving, of taking on the role of Nicholas in someone else's story. If you listen closely, the stocking teaches a kind of Christmas wisdom. It says, the container doesn't need to be grand to hold something precious. A humble sock, a scuffed boot, a child's slipper. These can cradle a world of delight. The hearth, the bedpost, the windowsill, none of them are palaces. But they are places of expectancy. They tell us to prepare a small space, to wait without peeking, and to trust that generosity knows the way home. Of course, traditions evolve with houses and heating systems. Not everyone has a working fireplace now. Many families use a stair railing, a bookshelf, even adhesive stocking hooks on a stone-cold faux mantel. Names get embroidered. Pets acquire embroidered bones on their stockings. And grandparents discover how suspiciously heavy a stocking can become when you just add one more little thing. The ritual adapts, but the feeling doesn't. The stocking remains the quiet scene setter for surprise. You can almost hear paper crinkle in the dark. Let's zoom back through the world tour to see how this one simple practice branches. In the Netherlands and parts of Belgium and Germany, the St. Nicholas season on December 5th to 6th keeps the shoe tradition alive. Kids leave carrots for the saint's horse and wake up to sweets and mandarins. In Spain and much of Latin Europe, Epiphany on January 6th features shoes again for the three kings, sometimes stuffed with straw for the camels, before gifts appear by morning. In Italy, La Befana's stockings are iconic. In Iceland, the Yule lads go the shoe route. Everywhere, a theme repeats. A small vessel set out in hope, and a story told when dawn arrives. In the United States and Canada, though, stockings are fully married to Christmas Eve, thanks to those 19th century New Yorkers. Irving's playful reinvention, the anonymous 1821 picture book with the sleigh and reindeer, and then Moore's blockbuster 1823 poem that practically issued stage directions. Hang the stockings, mind the chimney, listen for tiny hoofbeats on the roof, and don't you dare wake up before dawn. Illustrators like Nast gave the visuals, retailers gave the patterns, families gave the memories. Now, the sound of a stocking being lifted carefully off a hook is as much a part of Christmas morning as the rustle of wrapping paper. And yes, some legends and images blend. The Dutch Sinterklaas roots in New York fed the Santa figure. Washington Irving's playful prose primed the stage. Clement Moore scripted the moment. Artists and advertisers built the set, and families keep performing the tradition every year. That's culture. 100 threads braided until it feels like one rope. Even the smallest details carry echoes. The orange at the toe, sunlight from an old winter when fruit was rare. The chocolate coin, laughter turned to gold. And sometimes, yes, the coal, in Italy especially, a nod of mischief that keeps moral tales in the mix, now sweetened into candy. Each item is a footnote to an old story, What is placed inside a stocking is less important than why it's placed there. Let's return once more to the fire. A line from that famous poem still floats in the warm air. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care. It's a small sentence that became a big ritual. To hang a stocking with care is to act out belief in generosity, someone else's and your own. It's to say, there will be a surprise for someone I love. It's to rehearse what St. Nicholas did in the dark. Quietly place a gift within reach, then step away and let wonder do the rest. Today, families improvise. Some keep stockings for St. Nicholas Day on December 6th, then again for Christmas Eve. 2 bright mornings in the same month. Some match the Dutch rhythm with shoes. Some save stockings for Epiphany, telling the tale of the 3 kings. Some families assign a theme, only homemade, or only books, or only things that smell good. Some turn stockings into acts of charity, matching every trinket bought with a donation to a local empty stocking fund or toy drive. The sweetness of the ritual is how easy it is to bend toward kindness. So the next time you loop a ribbon over a mantel hook or tuck a stocking at the foot of a bed, remember how far this little tradition has traveled. A Mediterranean bishop's midnight gift, shoes by northern hearths, a Dutch saint reimagined by American writers, a poem that taught a continent to hang a sock with care, a Victorian orange, a modern stocking stuffer, 1,000 small surprises in 1,000 warm rooms. And maybe, just maybe, the best part is that stockings turn us into Nicholas for each other. We get to be the ones who tuck in the small kindness, who leave the quiet token, who say with a small, simple act, I thought of you. Because a stocking tells a child, a partner, a grandparent, a friend, you belong here, by this hearth, in this circle of light. And that, more than any toy, is the real gift that spills out when the stocking is lifted. From my fireplace to yours, may your stockings be filled with joy, and may your hands be full of generosity. Merry Christmas.